Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what that condition is, to know beyond the shadow of a doubt, you do have a voice, you have a community, you are never, ever alone. Now, here on Invisible Condition, we get it. I get it. Sometimes life can be tough. Not all days are created equal. Some days are definitely tougher than others. Here's the thing, though. There's always, always, always hope. There's always hope. I don't care what your day is like. There's always hope, even if it's just a little bit. So if you are having trouble with that, if you're struggling, man, I get it, man. Believe me, struggles are a thing. I get it. If you are struggling, please, shoot me an email right here, jeff@hydrowithhope.com. And that is actually my email with our nonprofit partner, which is called Hydro with Hope, which we're going to talk about in a second. But we are serious about hope around here. So if you've lost your hope, please let me know. I'd love to help you find it again. So let me know. All right. Now, speaking of Hydro with Hope, I'm going to put one more. Where is it? I know it's here somewhere. Is that it? Nope, that's not it. Welcome to live TV, everybody. I have a new studio. This is a new studio software there it is. And I'm still getting used to it. So please forgive the button pusher. That's me. As I'm pushing the new buttons and still figuring all this out. It's only been about a month since we've been in here. So appreciate your patience. Hydro with Hope is our nonprofit partner. And I was born with a condition called hydrocephalus, and that's where Hydro with Hope is from. And it's a big, long word that means that basically you're going to have brain surgery a few times to correct problems with the condition. And so I have had 7 brain surgeries so far. My first one was at 2 weeks old, a couple more in my childhood, and there's been 4 since 2014. It's been a little bit of a wild ride around here, and I have had it, everybody's story is different. My story's been pretty awesome with hydrocephalus, actually. And so I started a nonprofit called Hydro with Hope, and we have a book called My Hydro Warrior Story. It's a fill-in-the-blank journal. I want to get this into your hands if you need it. It is a wonderful tool to be able to write down things when you're going to your doctor's appointments, your surgical follow-ups, if you need to, man, you know what? If you're having a rough day and you need to write some stuff down to get it out of your head, or journal, or emotional download, whatever, it's all in here, man. There's lots of pages for all of that. So I want to get this book to you, and that all takes money. And so obviously it's a nonprofit. This is a donation link right here. If you would like to donate to our nonprofit, you're more than welcome to do that. I appreciate you in advance. Thank you very much. We love you. You can donate one time, or you can donate on a monthly recurring basis. Either way, we love you. Thank you. And the other thing I want to talk about real quick before we bring our guest on is our studio sponsor, which is NRG, or Network Referral Group. Man, I'm telling you, if there are business owners in the audience, I know there are. There's lots and lots of people watching. I know there's business owners out there. I can see you from here. I see you here. I know that you network. I know networking is a part of your week every single week, because if you're not networking, you're not gaining new business. And so I know that everybody has networking groups they're a part of, in person, online. This one right here is the best I've ever seen. This is the purest form of networking I've ever seen. In fact, Mike at NRG has ruined me for all other networking groups. I have trouble going to others because they do it so well here. It is a never-ending source of referrals for your business. So I wanted to make sure that I let you know about that, because as a business owner, it has been widely beneficial for me, and I hope it is for you. Scan that QR code and then just let Mike know that you saw this on Invisible Condition with me, and then he'll be able to thank me and say, hey, thanks, Jeff, appreciate it. loved that last person that came to a call. They were fantastic. They saw it on your show. We thank you. So yeah, just there you go. That's all. That's all I've got, man. I just wanted to thank my amazing sponsors, and now we're going to dive in here. So, all right, listen, our guest today is fantastic. I'm gonna. I I knew how to pronounce. I know how to pronounce her name, but bear with me here. Today's guest is Irina Shehovsov. I hope I got that right. She'll correct me if I didn't. She is the founder of Reclaim Your Life, transformational. She's a transformational coach, and she is a #1 international best-selling author of a book called The Gift Inside. She's gonna show it to us. We're gonna have that. We're gonna talk about that during the show. Through her own journey, Irina developed a pretty powerful 12-step path to help women heal from feelings of unworthiness and rediscover what makes them happy. Rediscover what they love, and it's awesome. I love what she's doing, and I'm so glad she's here. So she's also the host of 2 podcasts, which watch out on my LinkedIn and stuff, because she had me on her podcast recently, and she is a phenomenal host. So anybody that wants to be on her show, I highly recommend her show as a guest. So anybody that's navigating major life transitions, whatever that is, identity, reclaiming their confidence, whatever, big life events, that kind of thing. Amazing show. So I can't wait for you to meet her. We can't. Let's stop talking. Let's bring her on here. This is crazy. Irina, thank you so much for being here. This is amazing. I'm so glad we're doing this like almost in the same week that I was on your show. So thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for creating the show. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. This is fantastic. So I do have one question that I like to ask everybody that's been on the show. There's no wrong answer, but I always love the answers I get. So I'm going to ask you, uh, on the days that were really tough, right? Because like I said at the beginning of the show, not all days are created equal. Some are hard. On those really hard days, how do you still maintain hope?
Focusing on what's working in your life, practicing gratitude. And it can be simple things. The fact that you wake up in the morning, the fact that you have food and a roof over your head, the fact that you can utilize your eyes, you can see. We oftentimes take for granted what is available to us, and we only appreciate it once it's lost. I dislocated my knee back in 2021, and there hasn't been a day that has gone by that I didn't thank my knees for walking. Every time I take a walk, I say thank you, my knees, for walking. Maybe it sounds silly or trivial, but our body is this magnificent, wonderful machine, and oftentimes we take it for granted. So many processes that are happening right now. I'm just talking to you, but meanwhile, I'm breathing, I'm focusing my attention, I'm able to understand what you're saying, I'm able to see you. So many things are happening, and not just the conversation itself.
Right?
Invisible things.
It's true. And there's so many people that don't have that capability. There's people that can't see. There's people that can't hear. There's people that can't speak. There's people that, right, can't walk, can't function, can't. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. I love it. Yeah, that's awesome. Those are a lot of things that a lot of people take for granted. So I love that you pointed that out. That's fantastic. Yeah, yeah. See, no wrong answer. That was awesome. Thank you. Perfect. Uh, so so take us back. We're gonna dive in here. Actually, first, but I'm sorry. I said we're gonna dive in. I'm gonna do one thing first. I want to put this on the screen so that anybody watching, by the way, no matter where you're watching from, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, LinkedIn, E360, wherever you're watching, thank you for being here. If you are on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, and Irina says something that sparks your interest or makes you question something, or you want to ask her something, like throw it in the comments. Comment and ask her or reach out. That's what it's for. That's why I put it on all those platforms, so that we can have that interaction. So, and then also, this is a QR code that'll go right to her website. And when you go to her website, there's a way to get on her mailing list so you can stay apprised of what's going on. And there's lots of things on that website. And I imagine, Irina, I'm going to ask you, there is obviously a place for people to contact you on there, right? If they have questions?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. And there's a lot there. We'll talk about that again later. I'm going to leave this here during the whole show so that people can have ample opportunity to scan that QR code and get in touch with you. So yeah, take us. Let's go back, man. I know we've talked about your story, but they haven't heard it yet. So take us back to the time when you were struggling, man. It was what was happening in life and emotionally, mentally that kind of sent you down this path.
Totally. So I became a single parent to a newborn and a 5-year-old. And I found out 3 days before my son was to be born that my life as I was expecting it is not going to go the same way. And then I spent the last, that year from when I found out to living in a dark room of despair, waiting for somebody to come rescue me. I didn't know who I was outside of being a mom and someone else's spouse. Because little by little, I lost a sense of identity. I lost a sense of who I was. So outside, you wouldn't be able to tell that anything was wrong, because I would plaster on a smile, I would go through my day, I would go to work, and I perform the duties that were expected of me, but inside the walls were collapsing in. I no longer knew who I was. I was simply executing, again, like things that were expected of me. I felt like I was a soldier who went to war that never ended. You don't have, when you're a parent or when you're a single parent, there are no days off, there are no vacations, there are no sick days. You're supposed to be on 24/7. So that was the reality I was living in. I did have a home, I had a job, I had kids. So externally, everything looked perfect. But internally, it was a different story. And living in that darkness and that what came about one morning, I was standing on station platform after dropping my kids off to school to 2 different places, and I missed my train by a second. And I realized as I was standing on that platform, why am I rushing so much? I crumbled and I started crying. I couldn't understand what was this rushing all about. It was this constant grind where I felt I was getting closer to my death, while I didn't feel like I was living. Every day was just monotonous repetition where I didn't want to wake up the next morning and relive the same reality. And to what end? What is the point of all this life? What is the point of all this suffering? So I decided that I didn't come here to suffer. There must be more to this thing called life. I made that decision. I didn't know how or what, but I wanted to be happy again. And that was kind of my starting point from which I started diving into personal development and growth that allowed me to rediscover pieces of myself I didn't know I had. It allowed me to find so many things that were dormant or non-existent. And it's been an incredible journey. So let me know if you want me to keep on going or
No, you're good. That's perfect. No, I love that. And actually that made me think of something that I've heard. I heard it years and years ago, but it's always stuck with me. And you just encapsulated it really well. And it was a short phrase that somebody told me one time, and it was in a time of life that I was, running myself ragged as well. And incidentally, it was before all the recent surgeries, and so those kind of slowed me down a little bit, thankfully. But the phrase that I was told was extreme busyness is not a badge of honor, it is a warning sign. And if you and so that kind of hit me between the eyes. It's always stuck with me. I've never forgotten that. And there are so many people out there that can probably relate to the story you're telling right now of run, go, never stop, and it will catch up with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't get any younger any sooner. And my whole idea also about bringing back hope, because life is so short. We think we have all this life, but on grand scheme of things, it's a speck. It's a
Yeah.
second time, and life is so fast paced, especially now with the advent of technology. Our attention spans are so fast. 3 seconds to get somebody's attention
Ugh,
on social media.
I know.
So
I know.
we don't have all this much time. Our
Yeah.
time is limited here, and what do we create with the time that we have here? Do we spend it in suffering, or do we spend it in something that we can create? Why did we come here? Did we just come here to suffer, or did we come here for something bigger, for something better? Like, in the end of the day, we are all creators. We all create our reality, and we have the capacity to decide what we create, whether we're creating misery for ourselves, or whether we're creating happiness for ourselves or joy. We all have that power. And when we realize that, I think that is the point of realization that yes, I am responsible for my life. I am responsible for all the bad things and all the good things. And it's not to say if you're in an abusive situation that it's okay that you're being abused. I'm not saying
No.
that. What I'm saying that is we create everything in our life. So taking
Right.
responsibility for that, for all the good, all the bad, all the ugly, and coming from place of that, what do we want to create next? I think that's where
Yeah.
we have that power.
It's awesome. It's true. I heard something else recently that stuck with me. I've been using this phrase for years. You know, your attitude is the only thing you have 100% control over. You know, how you perceive things, how you respond to things, not react. Reacting, you don't want to react. Reacting is defensive. Responding is you're on offense. You know, you're in control. You know, but it's true. I love that. And the funny thing is, and this is where this all relates to why I do this show is all of that is invisible. You weren't wearing a sign, right? It's not like you had a sign around your neck that said, "I'm miserable. Come help me." You know, it's you
Yes.
can't see it.
And there is a lot of taboo and a lot of unspoken things that we feel so ashamed we wouldn't even share it
Yeah.
unless maybe somebody asks, or it's only acceptable to share with a therapist. But if you share
Right.
somewhere else, it's
Yeah.
already feels so weird. And we carry that kind of inside of us and making ourselves sick in the process.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about physical conditions. I'm talking about like emotional or depression, anxiety type of things that when we carry within, when we don't let it out, when we don't have a practice of letting it out, like just like brushing teeth, when we want to have good oral hygiene, we brush teeth every day. We don't assume that if we brush it today, we are good for the next month and we're never going to touch it again. We got to
Right.
do it continuously. Just like cleaning dust off your shelves. You don't just expect to dust never settle if you do it one time. So
Right.
same with the emotions that are stuck, that are painful, that we are not letting go. They are eroding inside our body if we don't have a practice of letting them go. Because all emotions in the end they want to do, they want to be felt and let go. They don't want to be sitting there. Because all emotions are alert mechanisms designed to let us know when something is in good for ourselves or if it's bad. If we're feeling bad inside our body, somewhere in our throat, in our stomach, it's just our body telling, it's like our body's recognition system to let us know we're going in the wrong direction. We should switch. But
Yeah. It's just a
oftentimes,
signal. Yeah. It's just a signal, like the check engine light in your car, right? Or the low, like your windshield wiper fluid is low. Better refill it, or you're right. It's it's not good or bad. It's just, but you have to be paying attention.
yes, yes. And oftentimes we outsource our attention giving to the doctors, to the therapists, financial advisors, everybody
Uh-huh.
and anybody, so that if something goes wrong, we have somebody to blame. We say, "Oh, you told me that. You recommended it. It's your fault now."
Oh, come on. Oh man, you're calling a lot of people on the carpet here. Come on. That's not
I'm not saying I'm perfect.
I
I'm
just
right there with you.
I just felt about 10,000 people squirm all at once. Just went, "Oh," you know. When you said that. Me too, actually, by the way. Yeah, because it's true. Because nobody responsibility is hard, man. Sometimes it's tough. You don't want to take response. It's so in the short term, it's so much easier to just be like, well, they did it. It's their fault. It's not me. I didn't do it. It's because of this circumstance or what. So, but long term, right? Like you experienced that, right? In the short term, you were surviving, but in the long term, it's going to come back to bite you.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the short term, in my relationship, how did I get to lose my identity? Because when I was in a relationship, I was very complacent. I didn't want to quarrel. I didn't want to fight. I didn't think it was a big deal. But anytime we don't say anything, we also teaching others how we want to be treated. And if we say nothing, the answer is always no. And it's always expected, then it's okay. This is how we're carrying on because nobody says anything.
Yeah.
And little by little, you lose yourself in the process, especially if you had certain, let's say, core principles or core values that you have and something goes against them. You gotta speak up, you gotta enunciate, because people come from different backgrounds, from different upbringing, from different ways of living, and they all have different systems and knowledge and understanding. And we cannot read each other's mind, especially when we're brand new, when we come into a relationship. We gotta kind of get to know each other and educate each other. So that's how my loss of identity happened, because I wasn't speaking up often enough to let know who I am, to stand my ground. So that's how that happened in my case.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, I don't remember. I was racking my brain while you were saying that, trying to remember this phrase that I remember hearing. And this is really geared towards, I think I heard it in sales, like a more sales environment, but ASK to GET, right? If you don't ask, then the answer is always no, right? Don't expect to get anything if you don't ask for it. So, yeah. And that's in a good way too, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And a lot of people, I don't know if it's, maybe you can answer that. I mean, I've never been a woman. You've never been a man, right? So we're coming from different perspectives here. Is it harder for what do you suppose? Like, is it like, are men more reluctant to ask for help, or women more reluctant to ask for help when they know they need it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It depends on the person.
I suppose, or the situation, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like being. I mean, my wife and I have known each other for between 30 and 40 years. We've been married for 27 almost. I know her pretty well. I know that she definitely doesn't speak up about things as readily, certain things, as readily as I do, but in the same. But then it goes the opposite way with other things, right? So, yeah, it's I don't know, but it's either way, it's healthier to speak up than not most of the time.
Totally, yes. It's not about quarreling, but it's about letting the other person know where you stand and how you feel. There is a great book by Jose Ruiz, 4 Agreements. We all come into this life, we make agreements. So instead of quarreling or making things personal, establishing agreements between each other. And then when something doesn't work out, it's the agreement that was broken, not personal relationships. So to keep personal relationships intact, it helps to have the agreements. Not just in personal, but in general, in any situation, business relationship, any kind of dealing. I like that book.
That's a great piece of advice. Yeah, because it's true. It's kind of like it's the saying, like, it's not personal, it's just business, right? But there's something to that, It's like don't take it. I'm not trying to attack you personally. I'm just telling you this so that we can move forward in a situation,
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, so what was that turning point? I mean, we're talking about all this stuff. Like there had to have been a point. Like you're running, your hair's on fire all the time. You're constantly moving. You can't rest. You're feeling like you can't even let up, because if you do that, then people will judge you and all the things, right? What was that breaking point that's like, okay, that's enough. I got to do something different.
Yeah, I was standing on a station platform when I missed my train by mere seconds. And
that was it.
That was that moment, yes.
Because you talked about that earlier, but I wasn't sure if that was, yeah, that's a good moment. Yeah.
It's a simple moment. It was
Yeah.
not, if you were there, you wouldn't have noticed anything. But it's
No.
what was happening in my mind and how I was feeling. It was just some station platform in the suburbs of New York as I was going about my regular morning routine after dropping kids off to two different places.
Yeah.
And I had to go find parking because parking lots were get to be full by 7:30, and I
Yeah.
would drop off my kids by 8. So by the time I get to the train station, it was 8:15.
No.
Everything was full, and I had to go a couple of blocks in some godforsaken area and then run back to catch the train. It didn't matter if it was rain, snow, hail, high water. Every day the same schedule, the same spiel. So like, like horse goes with blinders on to get
Yeah.
from point A to point B. That's how I felt. And one morning, because it wasn't the first time I missed the train or a second.
Sure.
It
Yeah.
happened. And in that moment, my heart was racing, my head was pounding, and I was imagining my boss's face, who's gonna say again, "You're late again." And all of that kind of visualization and all of that rushing and continuous, it's not just one day, because it's day in and day out. So it kind of got filled up and exploded. And
Right.
that moment came that I felt like I was getting closer to my death, but I didn't feel like I was leaving because this constant rush, constant day in and day out, without feeling like you're alive. I had nothing to live forward to. I had suicidal thoughts because there was nothing to look forward to. I was like a milk producer for my baby, for my little one,
Yeah.
and I got it to make sure I'm maintained and I'm all good. But
Right.
other than that, there was nothing to look forward to in life anymore. There was nothing happy, nothing exciting. So that was that breaking point where I said, time out. I think there is more to this thing called life.
Yeah.
And I decided I wanted to be happy again. I didn't know how I'm going to get there or what I need to do. But that was the point which started my personal development journey. And my first step out of that was taking a simple morning walk.
Yes.
Sounds like nothing, but that was
No.
the
No.
first step.
Yeah.
Stepping over the threshold of my home. I always wanted to do it, but I never did. I never allowed myself.
Yeah.
But from that moment, I did. And I used the first hour of the day, as Tanya Robbins calls the power hour, as I wanted my life to be. I would write it on a piece of paper. I would envision what are those things were. And some of them were becoming an author, becoming a public speaker, becoming a singer, singing on stages all over the world, and speaking on stages and writing books. And lo and behold, I was able to realize that dream. It took about 8 years from the time I sought it out to the time it came to be. And I became a published author.
Yeah.
This was actually book number 6. First book came in 22 when I started my podcast, and one of the guests was a publisher, invited me to be part of her book. And in 22, I wrote In Sacred Surrender, was my first published chapter that came out.
Awesome.
And then last year in July of 2025, I spoke at MIT in Boston.
Whoa.
That was first public speaking, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
So, and now I am in pursuit of, I want to be singing on stages. And of course, continue speaking. But yeah, the dreams and desires, when kind of looking back, drafting on a piece of paper without thinking of limitation or what's possible or impossible. But what do you want to do? What do you want to create with the life that you have left? We all have had some kind of struggle, some kind of event that took place. But that event, it's not the story of our life. It's just a chapter in the trajectory of our life. So with the life that we have now, what do we want to create? What kind of life? Without thinking of, oh, I can do it or I cannot do it. But what do you want to do? Oftentimes we are so quick to answer the question, what you don't want. But if I ask you, what do you want? You actually have to slow down and take a little, think about it. You cannot just blurt it out. When we were kids, what do you want? You can have like a list of gazillion things. And as we grow older, I think that that kind of wanes away and we start
Right?
focusing on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and one other thing that makes me think of um, is there's there's so much negative out there in general, right? So much negative. You don't almost have to like dodge it, walking down the street, But there's to the point that even built into the English language and other languages around the world, maybe there's things to compensate for this, but in the English language, there are many more things to tell you how something feels bad than that it feels good, right? So, like for instance, my favorite one to say is there's no there's no opposite to a toothache, right? You can say, "Oh man, I have a toothache." Well, what is it if your teeth feel amazing, right? Like there's no opposite to that. There's right, and or a headache or a stomach ache or it's like, oh man, my head feels fantastic. You don't. There's no like word for that. So it's just built into our life, the negativity. It's
I,
crazy.
I think it goes back to say to pay attention at your body, because we only appreciate, we actually don't appreciate it. It's only when
No,
something goes wrong we start to say how wrong it is. But when
exactly.
everything is good, we take it for granted. We don't
Which is
enjoy,
yeah,
we don't appreciate things when they are good.
yeah. Well, which is why I love having the guests that I have on the show because, for instance, what you're talking about with the busy, busy, busy all the time and running yourself ragged, like that can lead to more serious invisible medical conditions. That could send you down the rabbit hole of all kinds of autoimmune conditions, all kinds of stuff. There are so many people that have lived with a condition and then figured out a way to maybe make it better or get rid of it or contain it in a way that they can have a relatively normal life, right? Um, but those are the people that get it, that like really appreciate the days that are awesome, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't have constant migraines. I had constant migraines for a whole year in 2014 after a couple brain surgeries. So I am well aware that I do not have constant migraines anymore, and I love every day because I'm not in that condition anymore. But if you've never been in that situation, you don't have the appreciation of not being in it,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah. So it's like if
Like,
your life's been perfect your whole life, you don't have the appreciation almost. It's like going through the crap is a good thing sometimes.
yeah. And you wouldn't be able to appreciate the sun if you haven't had the rain.
There you go. Yeah, it's true. That's yep. Yeah. Well, and so so in Colorado, it's kind of where I live is where they talk about, it's on average we get about 300 days of sun a year. Whether it's snowing or raining or it could be cold, it could be 20 degrees out, but there's not a cloud in the sky and the sun is shining, right? So um, that makes me think of people who live in like Washington, where it's the opposite of that, you know,
Yeah.
or some states that are a lot colder a lot more of the time. You appreciate you get to appreciate that pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's awesome. Oh, I love it. Well, so tell me about the this. I know we don't want to spoil all the surprises or anything because I know people you want to have conversations with people, but there's a 12-step. I don't want to say program. It's not that kind of thing, guys. Don't worry. It's 12-step path, right? Kind of thing, and how to help women. I don't want you to spoil it for everybody, but talk about some of those because there's some cool stuff in there.
Definitely. So I believe in holistic well-being and combining physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual states. It's like imagine you building a house, you need to have a foundation, a solid foundation, and I believe that foundation can be made with the habits that we have. None of the habits are bad. Habits all produce a certain kind of result. And if we don't like the result, we can change the habit. So in the book, I dive into, and I'm not sharing everything, but just certain things that worked in my life, and hopefully they can help you as well. So when we look at physical well-being, I'm sharing 3 habits that we can implement. First one is a morning routine. We all know how to make a good cup of coffee, if you like that, or cup of tea. We should also know how to make a good day for ourselves. How do we start a day? Not when we wake up, but rather how we wake up, with what mindset, what do we do for ourselves? How do we flood our senses with good things in our life? Before we be anything for others, we got to be somebody for ourselves. So in the morning when you start, as soon as your feet hit the floor, you can say 3 things you're grateful for to put your mind in that wave. Again, simple things. Sun is shining, I am up today, I feel good. And my favorite one, when I wake up, I say, I'm going to have an awesome day. Before anything else, I'm going to have an awesome day. Just for me, I'm telling myself that. And then what do you do for yourself? What other things? I like to meditate, and then I like to go for a walk. I can keep on doing that as I was doing that last, how many years already? 15 years.
Yeah.
Take yourself out on a walk, because when you walk, you're not only exercising your body, you're also clearing your mind. You're looking at nature. You get to smell the air. And if you live somewhere by the ocean, you get to maybe dip your feet in the sand and really feel present and connected with nature, because nature is so grounding, it's so beneficial. It allows to clear our senses. It allows us to be centered and present in ever so fast-paced life that we are living. And then after a great morning walk, I personally like to sing. That's the thing that brings me joy.
Right.
So that's what I do. And you can do whatever brings you joy. Maybe it's Pilates, maybe it's painting. But putting in that elixir, that imagine a coffee mug, all the great ingredients, imagine your day. What are the great ingredients that make your day great? What are the things that make you feel alive? Not for others, but for you. Not because you make money about it, but pure, simple joy. What are those things that you can put that make your day complete? Another habit from a physical realm is movement, any kind of movement, whether it's swimming, whether it's running, whatever suits your boat, whatever you love, because our bodies were designed to move. And I think during the pandemic, we found that out, because we were sitting so much. We had to make an intentional kind of break in a day to consciously move. And then the last habit in the physical realm is nutrition. Kind of what you put, garbage in, garbage out. Think of wholesome. I'm not recommending any particular diet. I'm just recommending wholesome diet, whole foods, less processed, more vegetables, more fruit, less processed. And see how you feel, see how your body feels when you appreciate, when you set a time, because you are worth it. You have this amazing vessel called your body. If you had a Ferrari, how often would you, I don't know, clean the oil, check the wipers? What kind of tools will you have? How would you take care of it? Your body is not like that Ferrari, but if you feed the Ferrari McDonald's and Burger King, how is it going to run?
Right.
So thinking of food as fuel that allows you to have this amazing life experience, that you have the right amount of energy, the right amount of focus to be able to maintain your life here on planet Earth. Right. So that's the physical one. And then we go into emotional and mental. One of the big ones, kind of the focus of the whole book, is how to stop becoming a victim, or stop letting yourself be a victim. Chapter 7 talks about becoming free from victimhood.
Yes.
And there, again, taking responsibility for your life. Not everything is happening in your life is for you to absorb. It's just for you to observe and get a lesson out. What is the positive lesson from the negative experience that feels like negative? Because in the end of the day, all experiences are there to teach us a lesson. What kind of lesson is that? Not a punishment, but a lesson. Right. And another component of that becoming free is focusing your mind on the solutions. Oftentimes we focus our mind on a problem And the more we do that, we dig ourselves a bigger hole from which it will be more difficult to climb out of. Instead of focusing on solutions, not gazillion of solutions, but maybe drafting something, letting yourself think, and picking one tiny step that you can take towards your solution. Because our mind will always focus on what we place attention to. Imagine walking in the forest with a flashlight. All you see is what's in front of the flashlight. But if you suddenly the light comes on, there is 360-degree field of solutions, but all you can see is what right in front of your eyes in the flashlight point. So some of that kind of I'm sure as well in the book.
Well, it's kind of like you were talking about earlier with the blinders, right? When you've got the blinders on, all you can see is right there, and you've got the very limited view of what I struggled with that for a long time. I only see two options and they're both terrible, right? Right? Like, because you're not looking here, you're looking here. And these options might not be great, but there's so much out there that could also help you. So, yeah. Well, let me ask you this. There's somebody that I was talking to, or maybe was talking about making a list, like the night before. Plan your day for the next day, so that when you get up that morning, you've already got your roadmap for the day, right? And even if that checklist has things on there like brush your teeth, take a shower, eat breakfast, make your bed, which has been on my list, because it's like there was a guy that I think it was a Navy admiral or something that became really well known, because that was like the title of his talk. It was like, make your bed, first thing you do, because that's like your first accomplishment for the day. You can check that off, so it doesn't have to be complicated, right?
No. And you're giving your mind instructions. So in the morning, you have less to think about. Think of Steve Jobs, who eliminated from his wardrobe, he only wore the black turtleneck, because our mind, he didn't want to have decision fatigue.
Seriously.
If that works for you, yes. And it's great to start your day and already know, okay, these are my things for me to accomplish, instead of starting the day like, what am I doing today?
Right.
And then you spend half the day thinking about it instead of executing on the things that you wanted to create.
I think take it or leave it, or say what you want about Mark Zuckerberg. I know he's gotten some positive press in the past and some negative press in the past, but I think he took that page out of Steve Jobs' playbook, because every time, at least in recent times, every time I see him speaking from stage, he's in jeans and a dark gray t-shirt. That's it. That's his uniform for doing his thing. I love that. That's why schools with uniforms sometimes have, private schools with uniforms sometimes have better outcomes on tests, because they're single focused more. It's like I don't have to think as much to get ready for school. I just go to school and learn.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's something to that, So, yeah. I haven't done that yet. I haven't switched to just a daily uniform yet, but I'm thinking, but don't think I haven't thought about it. It's actually crossed my mind over the years. Take one more decision off your plate.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Nice. Well, what else is coming up, man? I know you've got, God, there's a lot of stuff on your website. You've got multiple books out there that you've either contributed to or written yourself. I mean, it's just a lot, let's talk about your podcast for a minute, maybe, and tell people more about that, because like I said at the beginning, like that was a really cool experience. You ask questions that nobody else asks me. Some of the questions you asked on that podcast, I have never been asked in all the years I've been doing this. I've never been asked some of those questions. It was awesome. So, yeah, you were a phenomenal host. So tell everybody more about your podcast.
Sure. So I have two podcasts. First podcast is called Single Parent Success Stories. It started in March, before the pandemic of 2020. I had no idea how to do podcasts. I was simply inspired by a fellow masterminder. I was in Brandon Bouchard mastermind, and she was having a series of interviews with entrepreneurs. And I said, what a great idea. I want to speak with single parents who've been there, done that. And I had my first guests were members of that mastermind who believed in my crazy idea. So I recorded my first episode in January of 2020. I didn't know how to do video editing, so I was sitting on this content for 2 months, figuring things out. And I said, why am I sitting on this? I already have the material. So I launched the podcast on March 2nd, 2020, with audio only. And then I figured out the video later. And it's been 6 years of incredible conversations, connections from people all over the world. Podcast is global. It's 1.5% top global podcast. And as a result of the podcast, I was able to become an author. I was able to realize my dream. When I started the podcast, I already forgotten about that author stuff. And then it kind of came to be. And from the Single Parent podcast, we created 2 books, Soul Parent #1 and Soul Parent #2, where I invited guests to share their experiences of single parenting. Both were international bestsellers, and the first Soul Parent was named Best Book to Read by Book Authority for single parents in 2023.
Wow.
And the second podcast, called Reclaim Your Life with Irina, where Jeff was a guest, started in August of 2023. The idea for both podcasts is to bring back hope. First podcast is to bring back hope to single parents, and Reclaim Your Life is to bring back hope to people who feel they are stuck in life. By sharing, I share my own tools. When I started, I used to have a solo episode and then an interview. So I was sharing the tools that helped me reclaim my life. Things that I've learned through different tools, neuro-linguistic programming, timeline therapy, wellness, fitness, because I studied those in my personal development journey as well. And I speak to guests who had a wake-up call that suddenly changed the trajectory of their life for the better. Whether they had a near-death experience, where maybe they decided however they were living wasn't working and they needed to change. What was the change and what were the 3 biggest lessons they learned as a result? And I had incredible guests on there as well. And currently I'm curating my book number 8, which is called Reclaim Your Life, The Breaking That Made You New, where I'm inviting guests and people who like to contribute. This new book is based on Reclaim Your Life podcast. And this is the next project that I'm working on right now.
Wow. That's awesome. I love it. In fact, while you were talking, it made me remember that I just had a conversation with a gentleman today that I need to introduce you to for that podcast. He was awesome. You said something, I don't even remember what the phrase is you said, but you said something that sparked, I was like, ooh, yeah, this guy, I should introduce. So I will, I'm going to write his name down so I can remember to introduce you to him as soon as when we're done here today, because he was amazing. So we should definitely collaborate on some guests because there's so many people that have been on this show that would fit the subject for one of or both of your podcasts. So yeah, it's awesome. I love that. I love sharing that kind of stuff. It's fun. So yeah, we should definitely talk about that. So well, what we've got, let me see here. Where are we here? We've got about, oh my gosh, okay, so we have about 4 minutes left. Time flies when you're having fun. Here we are, almost at the end. In these last 3 or 4 minutes, what would you like to share with our audience? What would you like to leave them with in our time today?
Believe in yourself. Do the thing that brings you joy. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait when you retire. Don't wait for later. You got today. You got right now. Every day is a gift, and it is called the present. And why don't you be present to your own life? I believe we all have a gift inside of us, and it is our job to find out what it is and then share it with the world. We didn't come here to suffer. We came here to create We came here to create a life on purpose, to live with joy, to show our kids that life is not about suffering. It is about living in joy, creating things that maybe didn't exist before. Don't make the cemetery the greatest place on earth, because that's where ideas go to die. And you were given a dream, a gift for a reason. Not your parent, not your child, not your neighbor, not your friend. You were given that dream. And it is up to you to realize it, to make steps towards it. And dreams are always there for us to grab on. They are always there. They're not going to chase us. We have to chase the dream. But the dream is there. And it is a job to go out and please try it, because the greatest regret of people who are old, who are getting closer to their death, is the things they have not tried as opposed to the things that they did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my closing, I guess.
I love it. No, it's true. It's awesome. And one last thing for those that are listening, because I know there's a lot of men in our audience, but there's a lot of women in our audience too that might be really resonating with what you're talking about. So if there's women out there going, oh my good Lord, you are speaking my language, man. What's the easiest way for people to get a hold of you? Is your website this link here that's the QR code?
My website, I'm also on LinkedIn, on Instagram. Instagram, I have a handle, red.claimyourlife. I have a YouTube channel, which has a lot of tools, over 900 videos. Happiness Academy _.
Nice.
And all my books are available on Amazon. You can reach out using the website, irinashevsov.com. Yes, and podcasts are available on Spotify, Apple, and all the podcasting platforms.
Beautiful. That is fantastic. And if you do go to those podcast platforms, you might see a familiar face. Because I was so happy to be on your podcast. I'm telling you, I know I said it before, but if anybody knows a good guest, man, this is a really good podcast to be on. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing. You're an amazing podcast host. So yeah, this is so cool. I'm so glad we got to do this, man. So glad we got to do this with you and hear about your story and just learn from you. And thank you for being here. Thank you for doing what you're doing and for being here for me and for my audience today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. All right, here we go. Tell you what, and yep, just gotta make sure. Welcome to live TV, everybody. I just want to make sure I push the right button, so in case I didn't. So I'm going to leave this up here just for a second while I tell you a couple things. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'm so thankful that you're here and that you chose to spend this time with us today. This has been so cool. And join us for our next show, which will air on Tuesday, May 12th. So that's coming up here. I can't believe we're already in mid-May. Good Lord. I mean, come on. Don't blink. It'll be Christmas, right? I can't believe I just said that out loud. Shh. I didn't say that. But thank you for being here. This has been amazing. I'm so thankful you're here, because without you, we wouldn't be here. So thank you very much. No matter where you're watching, if you're watching on any of these platforms, I hope you engaged today and asked a question or gotten, said, hey, I gotta get in touch with Irina. She's amazing. So join us next time on Invisible Condition on that date, May 12th. I forgot already. Tuesday, May 12th. Join us on that day for our next episode, for our next amazing guest. And until then, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.